Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and I've done a few things in here off camera, which I'm not going to show you all of them right now, for one thing because this is drying, but I've got this little edging here that will actually turn in like this, and I wanted to show you one other thing, and then the rest will just be a surprise for when I do the flip out, the flip through. Okay, so we've got this, which is a little pocket here. And this opens out. It's got another tuck spot here. And this is an envelope that you can write on the inside of. And the it comes under here, the flap, under these things. Okay, so yeah. So anyway, those are just some of the things that I did off camera. They were all things that you didn't need me to show you. So I was just about to do the I want to find that place that I want to keep up, and there we go. I was just about to do the cover though and realized, oh, I better turn on the camera for this part. So what we've got is I'm going to do a fabric covered manila folder for the cover. And I want to make use, because this is pretty big and bulky, I want to make use of this little scored part that's already on the folder. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm not going to count that in my measurement. All right, and the paper itself, the sirens always start right after I start talking, sorry, is 8.5 by 9 if you open it up all the way. So I want 9.5 total. So that's going to be, I'm not going to include this part, the spine part, I'm not going to include that in my measurements. But I am going to add 1/2 inch total, so 1/4 inch each side to the side. So it was 9, so it's going to be 9.5. That'll add, this will go out about 1/4 inch past the edge of the pages. So that's 9.5. We're going to divide it by 2. So 9 divided by 2 would be 4.5 plus our 1/2 inch, so that's 1/4. So 4 3/4. So we're going to cut from the edge of the spine here. We're going to cut 4 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. I'm lining up the edge of the spine right here at 4 3/4, and I'm just going to. And this is, you know, I don't know what I would do without a guillotine paper cutter. I'm going to do the same thing over here, 4.5 inches while I talk. I like my paper trimmer, but there are some things that you just really, really need a guillotine style cutter for. And this is one of them. It's just so much better to use that. Okay, so then we have, for the height, it's 8.5 inches. So we're going to make it 8 1/4 because I want it to just barely go past. So now I can lay it flat. Okay, and this comes out farther than the top because of the spine, but I'm going to lay it flat for cutting it. So 8 3/4. That's what we decided on, and then we'll check it after we cut it. It's just file folders, and if I mess up, which I do sometimes on the measurements, I can always just reuse this for something else. And I mean, in fact, it does kind of seem a little small, so I'm kind of wondering if maybe I cut it too small. We'll see. Can always use it, you know, use it for tags, for whatever. Okay, so this I'm folding in. I just want to make sure that there's nothing wet here. Okay, and how about this stuff with the buttons? Is that nice and dry now? I think so. There it is. Yeah, that's dry. Okay. All right, so let's try our cover on here. This isn't all lined up the way that we want it because we'll want the tabs. I'll have to move those around, but this will just give us an idea of where we stand here so we can make sure that it's all going to fit fine, and it does. Okay, we want all this lace trim and stuff. We want some of this sticking out. We want our tabs to stick out. Okay, and we'll be hanging little charms from the lace and fabric and stuff. Okay, so that's just exactly right. In fact, maybe just a little bit too tall because I want this lace to be hanging out from the bottom. So I may cut off just a tad. Let's see how we're doing here. I don't want any paper hanging out from the bottom. I want the paper. Okay, yeah, so let's cut about 1/4 inch off of this. this itself is not going to be the cover. This is going to be inside the cover. I'm going to put fabric on both the inside and outside of the cover. Okay, so we're going to cut off just about 1/4 inch. There we go. If you get a guillotine paper cutter, make sure that it has your grid on it. And some of them even have like angles on them and stuff. I will post one that I really, really like. That's not really expensive. There are some that are like $75 that I would really love, but that's out of most of our budgets, I think. So I'll post one that I really like so that you can see that if you want to get one. Because I've done a lot of shopping around for these paper cutters. I got this one before I started doing junk journals, and there are a few things that I would get differently about it. Okay, so that gives us the basis for our cover. So I'm going to set the journal aside, and this is what I've decided on for the cover, and it's flannel. I really like this. I love flannel. I use flannel sheets. Even in the summer, I use flannel sheets. They just feel so good, and I just think that this is going to be really, really nice on this. It's going to be very cozy. I think this is kind of a comforting journal. It's very sweet with all the lace and gingham and stuff. And so I just think that it goes perfectly with this. And this looks like kind of an autumn garden kind of thing. Okay, so let's see if we can find the edge. I was going to cut this out ahead of time, and I decided no, because I know some people are not very confident about tearing cloth. So I want to show you some things about that. Okay, so we want this to be just a tad bigger than what we cut for the for this part. My words are not here today. Sorry, you guys. Okay, so this is not straight. So we're going to go ahead and tear that. I'm going to go on up here. Now to tear, all you have to do is just cut a little bit with your fabric scissors. And if you don't know, you should be using separate scissors for your fabric and your paper. Paper will really, really dull your scissors, and then it won't work for cutting fabric. Okay, so we're going to pull this, and I can use this for fabric ribbon. I can use it in this journal or in another one. And okay, so then I know that I want to be, I want it to be a tiny bit bigger than that file folder. So we're going to go for, what did I say, 8 3/4 was what that was, and then I trimmed some off. So 8 3/4 sounds about right. So we're going to find 8 3/4 right here, put that down at the edge of our fabric, and then come up here to where the ruler starts, and we're going to make a little cut just through that layer right there. Okay, just right there. All right, and then we're going to tear it. And I want the tear to be about 9 and, what did we have? 9 1/2, 9 3/4. Okay, oh, plus this, the spine, so let's measure that. 9 3/4 plus our spine is about 3/4, so 10 1/2 is what we need. Okay, plus I'm going to cut off the selvage here, the part that's finished, because for one thing it's got this print on it, that's not so bad, but I want it to be able to fray. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tear that also. And I want to tear a wide enough piece that I can use it for fabric ribbon. So I'm going a little bit wider than the selvage. Okay, and then see how it's fraying really nicely. I like that. I want that. That's a good thing. Okay, and let's make sure that this measures up okay, that it's tall enough. If not, then we'll just cut another piece. But yes, it is. See how it's a little bit, let me hold it up here. It's a little bit bigger than the folder, but not very much, just a little bit. We do want it to go just a little bit past the edge, partly because it's going to fray, okay? All right, so we're going to do, what do we say, 10 1/2 inches. So I want to measure, where'd my ruler go? Here it is. 10 1/2 inches. I know it's hard to see because I've got all these layers here, but I'm going to measure 10 1/2 inches down here. 10 1/2 inches. So that's right here. And I'm going to just actually slip my finger over and make it just a little tiny bit bigger. I'm going to cut just a little thing there, and I'm going to tear. Okay, so now I've got my piece for the cover. And well, I'm not going to put the fabric away anyway right now because we're working here. But let's just make sure that it's the right size for this cover. If not, I can just cut out another piece. Yes, it is. It's great. Okay, so our next thing is that we're just going to put some glue stick on it just to hold it in place. Okay, it's not really, and you guys, by the way, this is a used file folder. It's all kind of grungy. That's okay, and it's good because it's not super stiff. If you don't have any used file folders, that's okay. You can, now definitely want to put one down the center here, and just put some glue. We don't want to put it right up at the edge because that's where we're going to be sewing. Okay, and so that'll just help to hold it in place so that it doesn't slip around while I'm sewing it. I've found that that really, really helps. Okay, so I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of fabric sticking off each of the edges. Doesn't have to be a lot. Oops. Okay, so I need to pull this down a little bit more. Okay, let's pull it off and we'll put it back down. Let's put the fabric down first. I think that just makes it easier to see what I'm doing here. Okay, and then I'm going to actually use my roller to smooth it out. Okay, and again, I mean, that glue would not hold this in place permanently. That glue is just what we call basting. It's just to kind of hold it in place until I sew it. And it'll help keep it from slipping so that I don't end up with all kinds of wrinkles and everything. Okay, so see how I've just got a little bit up here along the top and a little bit here and here and here, and those are all going to fray really, really nicely, which is another reason why when we sew this we want to use zigzag. Now if you don't use a sewing machine, that's fine, use some glue, but don't use this kind of glue to hold it on permanently. You'll want to use your Crafter's Pick Ultimate or Fabri-Tac or something like that. Okay, something that's made for fabric that will also stick to paper. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to just sew right down the center of the spine. It does make it slightly hard to push the awl through when I'm binding it, but I also find that it really helps to have that, so I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to sew, whoa, 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 we went zigzag. Okay, now we can go. Sorry about that. My Chinese kids love it when I say, whoa, 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 or no, 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 no. It's really cute, because then some of them will just all through the lesson, no, 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 no. I think it's so funny. Okay, so that'll help to hold it in place. And then let me just show you how I'm going to sew it. I'm not going to sew all the way along the bottom or all the way along the top. I'm going to do the top and bottom first, but I'm going to start in the center and come out, then start in the center and go out. Start in the center and go out, start in the center and go out. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to start in the center here and go out. And I'm kind of feeling where the edge of that file folder is because I want to make sure that I sew on the file folder. And it's okay. If you miss the file folder, then just go back and sew it again. You know, more stitching the merrier. It's totally fine. Okay. And then we're going to go from the center out. So what I do is I kind of roll it to fit into the space in the sewing machine there. Okay, I'm taking it up to the center and I'm going to sew to the end. There we go. Very good. Okay, and then while I've got it on this side, let's go ahead and sew right here from the center to the edge. Let's make sure that this is pulled nicely so that we, you know, in fact, I think because this is kind of stretching, I think I'm going to sew down the side next. Maybe a mistake, but with this stuff, you guys, if you make mistakes, it's okay. You can always use it for something else and just make a new one. Because the cover you want to look nice. You want it to look shabby chic, or at least I do. So I don't want it to, you know, I want it to look a little messy, but I don't want it to be like, you know, wrinkles all over the place and everything. So I'm going to do this side. And I'm kind of pulling out on this edge, on the right side here. I'm kind of pulling out just to make sure that it all sews neatly and doesn't get all bunched up any place. You kind of learn these things as you go. And if, you know, and if that sounds too complicated to you, then by all means feel free to glue. As you know, I just really like to sew. That's just me. Okay, so again, I'm going to kind of pull this out to make sure that it's nice and tight. Okay. And I'm sewing to the edge. I think that was a good idea. Okay, and then I'm going to curl this again to go in here. Stick it in through here, go to the center, and sew out. So this is the front. The inside, I'm going to use some pillowcase material that's striped, pink and white, or pink and kind of a beigeish color. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so that's our front cover. We're going to put some stuff on it. We're going to decorate the top. And I forgot to see what time it was when I started. I'm pretty sure I still have time, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I don't know that I have enough time to finish this. I'm sorry I didn't look at the time before I started. Okay, I love you all. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.